Hello parents, I'm Mr. Hao Yu, former PSLE Science Open-Ended marker and also former HOD Science in the Shanghai Singapore International School. Okay, I'd like to introduce this program to you, especially if your child is in primary 4 this year, because on the 12th and 13th of August, Wednesday and Thursday, there'll be no school for P1 and P6 students because these 2 days are earmarked for the PSLE oral examinations. So most of the students will be advised to stay at home to do their self-revision or self-study. So parents do take note of this very unique program where I'll be going through the P3 and P4 science syllabus. And this is very important because either you know it or you're not aware that most schools in Singapore, they still practice internal primary 4 streaming exercise. And let me share with you about the importance of P3 and P4 science. Currently, these are the P3 topics that your child will be tested, be in P3 end of the year or in P4. Because the P4 end of year examinations cover all the P3 topics. So in P3, they learn about these 5 topics as stated here. And also in P4, they learn about these important topics. I'd like to highlight to you this topic 5 because heat and its effect. This topic will be tested about 10% in the PSLE examinations and also in the P5 end of year examination. Heat topic is very important if you analyze about past year's questions about PSLE science. From my personal analysis, about 10% of past year's questions in PSLE science has been tested on heat and its effect. Because in secondary 1, they will carry on learning heat in terms of conduction, convection, and radiation. From my observation, many students, they are actually quite weak in P4 level in answering the topic of matter, which deals with solid, liquid, and gas, and also for the heat topic. So these are important topics that the child need to be well taught and also to answer the questions in the required scientific concept manner. Next, I'm very privileged to be invited by the famous Casco Publication Private Limited to revise their current P3 and P4, similar P5 and P6 science assessment book. Because every 5 years, MOE revised its syllabus, and this P3 and P4 has been revised by me. And I also have helped students who are in the gifted education program. Now they do not call GEP, some school they call HEP, higher education program, and also students in Science Olympiad, be it Science or Math Olympiad. I also help to provide them with such training. And this is my track record. I was a former PSLE science marker and also science coordinator for Pei Hwa Presbyterian Primary School. I taught there for 6 years. And also, very importantly, I am an author for the P5 and P6 Science Open-Ended. Together now, in this track record, I have revised the P3 and P4 Science Assessment Book for Casco, and it will be released the week after Singapore National Day, SG61. And now I'm doing the P5 and P6 revision. So I'm quite thankful for this opportunity to work with Casco Publications Private Limited. Do look up for their new edition for the P5 and P4 science that are being curated by Mr. Howard Yu. So let me share with you why this is very important. Not many schools, they announce publicly to the parents, but this has been practiced even up to now because it is good that the school practice internal P4 streaming so that when a child go to P5, the teachers or subject teachers will be able to pitch the level of teaching according to the general academic ability of the students. So this is what they do when I was a teacher in Pei Hwa. So generally most schools, as you know, they test 4 subjects: English, mother tongue, mathematics, and science. But most schools, they use science and mathematics to stream their students according to the P5 level. Why? Because as you know, Singapore is a science-based nation, and being in the foundation years of their learning in primary school, it is good to stream them according to their science and maths ability. So this is the norm for most schools, but some schools, they do stream students using the total aggregate. So generally, this is my scenario. Supposedly, each schools have only 32 students in P5 and P6. So in this end of year P4 examinations, your child will be streamed according to their total score in math and science, or it may be the total T-score with the 4 subjects. So in summary, the top 64 students in terms of ranking, that's been if you score 100 marks for all the 4 subjects, you have 400 marks. And maybe you lack 2 marks in science, you get 398. So they'll rank them in order. Okay, so the top 64 students will go to the top P5 classes. Then they will stream the bottom 40 students, the weaker students. Because some schools, they still use this term LA, low ability student. This is to help the slow learners or those who are not so academically inclined in primary school. So after streaming the top 64 and the bottom 40, the remainder, they will go to this called the S banding. So what is S banding? So for example, here I just generically name the student, this student BECACB. Okay, so for example, this student BE, he or she goes to MA1, the mixed ability first class. The next one, the CA, will go to mixed ability second class, third class, fourth class, and so on. So they will do this. So the next one, CD, right? CE will go where? CE may go also this one, the reverse order. CE will go to maybe MA3. Okay, next one, then DA will go MA2. Next one will go MA1, and then the reverse order. Next one, MA2, MA3, MA4, MA3, MA2, MA1. So they call S banding. So they want to spread out the students evenly among supposedly these 4 mixed ability classes. Okay, why is important that your child must aim to score the top 2 classes, to qualify the top 2 classes? Because as you know, in most primary school, P1 they go directly to P2, 3 and 4 they go directly, but from 4 to 5 there's streaming, because there's no streaming in P5. So there's this famous saying that they will stay 2 years together for better or for worse. Why for better? Because if they are streamed to the better class, generally the students, they have the tendency to study. They have this motivation to do well, to compete with one another. But let's say they are streamed to the mixed ability, there may be 50% chances of some students who are very hardworking. Some of them, they are just like come to the class with not the right motivation. They would just want to socialize with your friends, and they may have some challenges, learning challenges. So your child, if your child is not resilient enough, your child may be affected by this group of students who are not so keen in learning. So that's why I say is for better or for worse. So therefore, this sharing is very important. And where's my tuition center located? I'd like to thank the government for making these 2 downtown line and Thomson East Coast line. And because of the downtown line and the Thomson East Coast line, I have students as far as Sengkang taking the downtown line to Beauty World. And also thanks to the newly opened Thomson East Coast line, I have students from Mayflower travel to Beauty World. From Mayflower to Beauty World, I did a personal record. It can be clocked under 33 minutes. Yeah, 33 minutes from the Mayflower. Once you board the train, you come out, Beauty World exit A, come to my center within 33 minutes. One way is possible. So thank God for these students, and thank God for the government to build these very important MRT lines so that we can serve more students in Singapore, in different parts of Singapore, north, south, east, west, and center. So besides sharing my academic training, this is what as parents and educators we can do to help your child love science. If your child loves science, naturally your child will perform well in science. Get them curious and inquisitive. So for example, maybe National Day is coming, and this year is a bit, regretful, because I don't think we have the RSAF fly pass. But if you remember last year, right, we even have the red lions, because in P6 they learn about forces. So when a parachutist exit the plane, and then when they open the parachute, the speed slow down. So you can ask a child, hey, why the speed was slowed down when a parachutist opened their parachute? So you can discuss in terms of forces. That's a P6 topic. And also stimulate a child with simple experiment. One experiment I usually challenge my student to do is, you can see now I'm holding this cup. Okay, I will ask them, hey, why not you try to ask your parents permission to get a not so expensive glass or porcelain cup, fill the cup to the brim with water, and then put inside the freezer and observe what will happen 8 hours later. And you will notice that actually if you fill to the brim, right, the water will expand when become ice, because there's this unique phenomenon. And sometimes the expansion of the ice, the force, may crack the glass or the porcelain cup. So it is somewhere you can do simple experiment. And then next, allow your child to understand before memorizing the concept. Okay, there's one very simple questions about condensation. As you know, many students nowadays, they wear spectacles. So if they exit the air-conditioned car and come out to the car park, their spectacle will fall. So this is a common question commonly tested in PSLE science as well as P5. Explain the formation of the mist in the spectacle lens. So they should say the warmer water vapor from the surrounding comes into contact with the cooler surface of the lens, loses heat and condense to form tiny water droplets which appear as the mist. So this is understanding the concept, okay, understanding before memorizing, and also help them to see that there are real life examples of science and concepts. There are many, especially in the heat topic, also in the forces topic, energy conversion, definitely. I'm sure your child play drones, right? So you can ask your child, explain the energy conversion when the drone take off from the floor. So the chemical potential energy from the battery is converted to the electrical energy in a wire. As the motor turns, the electrical energy is converted to kinetic energy of the motor, and then to sound energy because it produces sound. And then as the drone takes off, kinetic energy is also changed into gravitational potential energy, and also to sound energy because of the blades. So these are actually real life examples where we can stimulate our child to be observant, to be inquisitive and curious about the environment. So this not only textbooks learning science. Science itself, like as you can see in my background picture, this photo I took it when I was on a cruise heading to Penang. So science learning is learn beyond the horizon. We must anticipate what is beyond the horizon to teach your child about this interesting world that we live in. So once again, do not miss these 2 dates. The 12th and 13th August 2026, no school for that day. Currently, I only left with 7 seats because I have 2 students enrolled. And this is very suitable for students, especially you can share with your friends. This year, I know there's a bumper number of students from China. They get admitted to P4 level through AEIS examinations. So this training is very good for those who are coming from other countries. They just join Singapore school, because I'll be revising the P3 science as well as the P4 science. And the cost is very reasonable. If you join 2 days, it's $300. 1 day is $170. And if you sign up as 2 person together, let's say 2 days, right? There's a $20 discount. So each person pays $280. And the time actually passed very fast, because I've conducted this course many years. Some of the courses even 3 days for the PSLE students. So generally, after 50 minutes of learning, they will take a 10 minutes rest. And then at 11:30 a.m., I will bring them for a 45 minutes lunch break in a cafe, nice cafe. Coming back after that from lunch, we will start around 12:20 p.m. and then they will end the class at 1:30. So day 1, I will cover all the P3 science concept, and day 2, the P4 science concept. So once again, this is my contact number, 82685299, and I delightfully invite you to consider to sign up fast, because I'm sure that after I recorded this and post on my social media, I believe that by tonight or tomorrow afternoon, all the remaining 7 seats will be taken up. So first come, first serve. This is Mr. Howard Yu, sending my greetings to every one of you. Cheers. Bye.